Most men don't lose their life in battle. They lose it in the living room. When they chain themselves to the wrong person, too early, out of fear of being alone. That's the quiet tragedy. Not dying too soon, but never really living. Think of it like this. A man who cannot stand his own silence is like a soldier who cannot stand the weight of his armor. He will throw it off in panic, then walk naked into a war. That war is called love, but really it's just fear in disguise. Have you noticed it? At the office, the colleague who rushes from one failed marriage to another, never pausing to ask if he knows himself. At family dinners, the relative who hides behind perfect couple photos but looks hollow when the phone is put away. Society applauds attachments, but the Stoics warned, chains that shine are still chains. This video is about why staying single, even when the world calls you incomplete, might be the best thing you can ever do. Not as punishment, but as training. A boot camp for your soul. A season where strength multiplies because you are no longer borrowing it from someone else. We'll walk through 10 turning points, each one showing why solitude is not weakness, but power. And if you stay until later in the video, I'll give you something rare. A practice that only a few men ever try, yet it can free you from the silent desperation that ruins most relationships before they even begin. So I ask you this, are you willing to test yourself in the hardest arena of all? Not business, not war, not family, but in the quiet room where no one watches and only you remain? 1. The shield against wrong attachments. The wrong relationship can strip a man faster than bankruptcy and wound him deeper than any layoff. That's the first truth most men refuse to face. You don't need a bad person to destroy you, just the wrong one at the wrong time. And when fear of being alone drives your choices, you'll mistake chains for love. Here's the twist. Chains don't always rattle. Sometimes they sparkle. They look like romance, comfort, stability. They arrive with a smile, a soft voice, a promise of forever. But paint gold on iron, and it's still iron. Marcus Aurelius warned us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Yet too many men hand that power to someone who chips away at them piece by piece. I've seen colleagues brilliant in business but blind in love, signing emotional contracts more dangerous than any deal they'd ever close. I've seen fathers lose themselves, not in one dramatic collapse, but drip by drip, excuse by excuse, until they were strangers in their own homes. And I'll admit it, once I thought I was smart enough to fix someone with love, like downloading an update for a broken app. Let's just say it kept crashing, and so did I. That's the comedy hidden inside tragedy. We trade peace for drama and call it devotion. That's why staying single isn't emptiness. It's a shield. It sharpens your vision. You start to see who adds peace, who multiplies case, who respects your boundaries, and who only mirrors your fears back at you. Here's your practice. Tonight, write down 3 traits you ignored in a past partner. Then ask, if those traits showed up again, would you excuse them or would you walk away sooner? That single exercise could save you years. So let me ask you directly, have you ever mistaken glittering chains for love? If yes, then solitude isn't punishment, it's protection. Every day you remain unattached to the wrong person, you are not behind. You are already ahead. 2. Owning your time completely. Your time is your only currency. You can lose money and earn it back, but once a day is gone, it's gone forever. Yet most men trade their time away like it's loose change, pouring it into arguments, compromises, and empty routines that don't build them. Here's the contrarian lens. Being single doesn't mean you're missing out on love. It means you're reclaiming hours most people never see again. When no one else's moods, texts, or schedules own you, your time finally belongs to you. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Apply that to time. Freedom is not about endless hours, but about hours untouched by the wrong demands. I remember a friend who used to set alarms not for his projects, but for his girlfriend's check-in calls. Every buzz was another slice of his life disappearing. After the breakup, he told me, "It feels like I just got 20 hours a week back." That wasn't heartbreak, it was parole. And I'll be honest, once I lost a whole weekend pacing a mall just to keep someone entertained. I hate shopping, but I smiled, carried bags, nodded at clothes I didn't care about. At the end, I wasn't a good partner. I was a distracted ghost. That's the trap. We sacrifice prime years to prove devotion. But devotion without boundaries is just slow erosion. Here's your practice. Look at your past week's calendar. Circle everything you did only out of obligation or fear of conflict. Now imagine what your life would look like if those hours were invested in your body, your craft, your vision. That's the difference between surviving and living. If this truth hits you, tap the like button right now. It tells me this message matters to you, and it keeps this kind of clarity alive. So ask yourself, are you spending your days like a man or leaking them away like a prisoner serving someone else's sentence? 3. Self-mastery without distractions. Most people think relationships build discipline, that having someone there keeps you sharp, keeps you focused. But let's be real, most of the time, relationships kill it. They don't make you stronger, they make you scatter. Instead of mastering yourself, you spend your days managing someone else's storms. Think about it. How many mornings have you seen a colleague drag into the office drained, not because of work, but because of another fight at home? They spent the night explaining, apologizing, negotiating, while another guy, single and steady, hit the gym, prepped for the meeting, walked in clear and unshakable. Same office, two lives, one building self-mastery, the other losing it piece by piece. That's the paradox of being single. The silence you fear is actually the training ground you need. No emotional roller coasters pulling you off track. No midnight arguments eating your energy. Just you, your thoughts, and the space to shape the person you want to become. It's like a personal boot camp where the drill sergeant is life itself. Your dumbbells won't text you at 2 a.m. asking, "Do you still love me?" Solitude gives you the rarest gift. Every ounce of your energy can go into building you, your body, your mind, your craft. So tonight, try this. Replace 1 hour you would have given to someone else's chaos with 1 hour fully yours. Read, train, journal, build. You'll feel the compounding strength almost instantly. Because if you can't master yourself in solitude, you'll never hold steady when the weight of love comes crashing in. So let me ask you, if no one demanded your time tonight, would you invest it or waste it? 4. Protecting your energy from toxic people. Have you ever noticed how one wrong person can drain you faster than 100 problems? That's the hidden tax of relationships nobody talks about. When you're single, your energy is yours, entirely. But when you're with the wrong person, your energy becomes a battlefield. Every word you speak is weighed, every silence is judged, every choice has to pass through someone else's moods. That's not love, that's exhaustion. I remember Mara. She could light up a room, magnetic and unstoppable. Everyone admired her energy, her spark. But behind closed doors, I saw the storm. The constant accusations, the jealousy, the guilt trips that left me feeling like no matter what I did, I was always one step short. I wasn't in love. I was in survival. Here's the paradox. Sometimes it's not villains who drain you. It's people who look dazzling from the outside, but carry chaos they never learned to tame. And if you're not steady, their chaos becomes yours. Pause here because this is the part men rarely admit. Sometimes we stay not because we're blind, but because we're scared of silence. The truth is, silence never kills you, but the wrong person will bleed you slowly until you don't even recognize yourself. So what do? When you're single, practice guarding your energy like it's gold. Say no faster, leave earlier. Trust the first red flag. Don't negotiate with your peace, protect it. Here's a practice. Take one evening this week and track where your energy goes. Who do you speak to? How do you feel after? Energized or emptied? Then cut one of the drains. Even one cutback is like removing a stone from your backpack. You'll breathe lighter. Because here's the truth, being single isn't emptiness. It's clarity. And clarity is the shield that keeps toxic people from walking into your soul with muddy shoes. Better to be alone with clean energy than with someone who poisons it. 5. Learning to love your own company. Most people aren't scared of being with someone else. They're scared of being with themselves. That's why silence feels heavy. That's why weekends alone feel like punishment. But here's the shift. When you stop running from your own presence, you start discovering a freedom no relationship can ever give you. I remember sitting alone one Friday night while everyone else posted their date night photos. For a moment, the room felt like a prison. But then something changed. I opened a book I'd been ignoring for months, brewed coffee the way I liked it, and for the first time in a long time, I realized this feels good. Not lonely, not empty, just mine. There's an old Rolling Stones lyric, I can't get no satisfaction. That's what happens when you rely on other people to fill your emptiness. You keep chasing, but never feel full. The moment you learn to enjoy your own company, satisfaction finally shows up. Not from outside, but from within. Pause with me here. Imagine going for a walk with no phone, no noise, just you. Imagine laughing at your own thoughts without needing anyone else to validate them. Imagine sitting at a cafe, enjoying your coffee without the silent panic that people might think you're lonely. That's not weakness. That's strength most people never taste. Practice. This week, take yourself out. Go to dinner alone or sit at a park bench without scrolling your phone. Notice the urge to reach for distraction, then breathe through it. That discomfort is your training ground, the gym where solitude builds muscle. Because once you love your own company, you'll never beg for half-hearted attention again. You'll stop settling, stop bending yourself just to avoid silence. You'll realize, I am already enough. If you've ever struggled with this, drop a quick comment, I'm learning, or I felt this. You'll be surprised how many others are walking the same path. When you fall in love with your own presence, loneliness dies and freedom is born. 6. Escaping the trap of validation. The fastest way to lose yourself is to keep asking, do they approve of me? Most men don't even notice when it starts. A small shift at work, you phrase an idea softer so the boss nods. At home, you wear the shirt she likes, not the one you do. On social media, you post what gets likes, not what matters. Before long, you're not living your life. You're performing for someone else's applause. I've done it too. I once bought a car I couldn't afford, not because I needed it, but because I wanted strangers to think I was successful. Guess what? No one cared, except my bank account. That's how validation works. It seduces you into trading freedom for approval, and the return is always empty. Here's the contrarian truth. The more you chase validation, the less respect you earn. People can smell neediness. Real strength doesn't beg to be clapped for. It keeps moving whether the room cheers or not. The Stoics knew this long before Instagram. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In plain words, stop being addicted to what people think. Because if your peace depends on their opinion, you'll never be free. If someone has to tell you, "I don't care what anyone thinks," 3 times in one conversation, trust me, they care. We all slip into that trap. The difference is whether we notice it. Practice. This week, try one bold act without explaining yourself. Wear what you like, even if it's not trendy. Say no without apology. Post something meaningful, even if it gets 2 likes. It will sting at first, but that sting is proof you're breaking the chain. The day you stop living for applause is the day you finally hear your own voice. 7. Growing stronger in solitude. Most people run from silence like it's a burning house. They fill every gap with noise, company, or distraction, terrified of what they'll find if they sit alone. But solitude isn't weakness. It's the forge where real strength is made. When you're single, the quiet can feel heavy at first. Nights without messages, mornings without someone waiting, weekends where the phone doesn't ring. That's when the doubts get loud. Am I enough? Am I missing something? But here's the paradox. Those very moments of discomfort are training. They're the weights that build your inner muscle. Think of solitude as a gym for the soul. Each time you face the silence without running, you grow. You learn to calm your mind when anxiety creeps in. You discover how to lift yourself after a hard day instead of waiting for rescue. You realize joy can come from a walk at dusk, a book that stirs your mind, or the quiet victory of finishing what you started. The Stoics valued this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." Solitude isn't emptiness. It's space to hear yourself again, to find out what dreams are yours and which ones you only carried because others expected them. And here's the twist. Once you survive solitude, you stop fearing loss. You've already proven you can stand on your own. No breakup, no rejection, no absence can destroy you. That kind of strength makes you unshakable. Ask yourself, when was the last time you sat in silence without reaching for your phone, without rushing to fill the space? If you dare to try it, even for 10 minutes, you'll feel it. The first spark of a strength most people never touch. Because solitude doesn't make you lonely, it makes you powerful. The man who can walk alone without fear is the one who can walk anywhere without losing himself. If that line struck you, share this video with a brother or a friend who needs to hear it. Strength multiplies when it's passed on. 8. Focusing on your mission, not pleasing others. Here's one of the biggest traps men fall into when they fear being single. They start living for someone else's approval. Their schedule, their goals, even their ambitions bend to keep the peace. And little by little, they forget why they're here. When you're single, that chain breaks. You don't have to explain why you stayed late at the office, why you're grinding on weekends, or why you'd rather put money into your vision instead of dinners that go nowhere. Your mission takes the front seat, and that's exactly where it belongs. Epictetus said, "A man is not free who is not master of himself." If you live to keep someone else comfortable, you're not mastering yourself, you're auditioning for approval. But when your nights, your mornings, your energy belong to you, your life starts compounding in ways most people never experience. I've lived this myself. There was a time I almost asked Elena to marry me. The ring was in my pocket, the words already rehearsed. But deep down, I knew I wasn't ready. I was still rebuilding after the storms of my past. still piecing myself back together. And what would marriage have been then, except me dragging her into battles that weren't finished? Elena once told me, "You're most alive when you're building." She was right. In those seasons of solitude, I could pour everything into shaping the man I wanted to become, without guilt, without compromise. And ironically, that made me a better partner later, because I wasn't asking someone else to heal wounds that were mine to face. Here's the twist. Missions require obsession. They demand sacrifice, early mornings, late nights, choices that look selfish to people who don't see the bigger picture. But staying single protects that obsession. It keeps your energy focused instead of scattered across arguments and apologies. So ask yourself, what project, what vision, what goal have you put on hold just to keep someone else satisfied? And what if your single season is the exact moment to bring it back to life? Because here's the truth. When you chase your mission, you don't just build a future, you build a spine. And once you've built that, no relationship worth keeping will ever ask you to trade it away. 9. Building emotional independence. Have you ever let a single text ruin your whole day? Have you ever carried one argument in your chest for a week? Have you ever felt a breakup erase your entire identity overnight? If yes, you weren't in love. You were dependent, dressed up in perfume. When you stay single, the disguise falls away. No one is there to carry your moods. No one to shield you from the silence. At first, it feels brutal. The nights drag on, the mornings feel heavier. But if you don't run, if you sit with it, you discover a hidden muscle, emotional independence. The ability to steady yourself when no one else shows up. You learn how to calm your own storms, how to lift yourself up when fatigue tempts you to quit, how to find joy in the simple things. A morning walk, a page of a book, the rhythm of your breath, without needing someone to hand you happiness. That's emotional independence. It doesn't make you cold. It makes you steady. It makes you the kind of person who can enter a relationship not as a beggar looking for comfort, but as a builder bringing stability. The Stoics taught that no man is free who is a slave to his passions. And that slavery doesn't just mean anger or lust. It also means the inability to stand on your own 2 feet emotionally. Think of it like training without a spotter. In the beginning, the weight feels unbearable, but once you push through, your strength multiplies. Suddenly, you don't need someone else to lift the bar for you. You can do it yourself. And here's the paradox. When you no longer need someone to soothe you, you become far more capable of loving them with clarity instead of desperation. So if you are single right now, treat it as your emotional gym. Instead of asking, "Who will hold me together?" ask, "How can I hold myself steady?" That shift changes everything, because the man who can stand strong alone is the man who won't crumble when life tests him. 10. You become whole before you share yourself. The biggest lie culture feeds us is this: you need someone else to complete you. Movies, songs, even family dinners repeat the same refrain: find your other half. It sounds romantic, but it's poison, because the moment you believe you're incomplete, you'll spend your life chasing someone to patch the hole. And whatever you catch won't heal you, it will only magnify the wound. Most people don't realize it, but this is why so many relationships suffocate. If you step into love carrying emptiness, you won't bring joy, you'll bring need. Every silence will feel like rejection. Every absence will feel like abandonment. You'll demand constant proof you matter, and that pressure can crush even genuine affection. Here's the twist: happiness doesn't come from being loved. It comes from learning to love your life while you're still alone. When you can walk into an empty apartment and feel at peace, when you can spend a weekend on your own and still taste meaning, when you can look in the mirror and smile without needing another voice to validate it, that's when you're whole. And from wholeness, relationships transform. You don't cling, you choose. You don't beg, you share. You don't enter as half a person hoping to be completed. You walk in full, and in that fullness, you overflow. That is the paradox Stoicism whispers. You don't need love to be happy. You need happiness to love truly. Ask yourself, if you stripped below every title and every partner, could you still sit in your own presence and feel enough? If not, that is where your real work begins. Before we end, let me give you something meaningful, a practice to anchor this truth deep inside you. It is called the empty chair exercise. After this video ends, take an empty chair and place it in front of you. Sit down, breathe deeply, and imagine the version of yourself who is still desperate for love, still afraid of silence, sitting in that chair. Look at him. See his restless eyes, his need for approval, his fear of being alone. Then say out loud slowly, "You are safe now. You are whole. You don't need anyone to complete you." This isn't imagination, it's confrontation. And if you do it for 7 nights, you'll feel the shift. That hollow part of you begins to soften. The desperate craving turns into calm strength. Because when you can sit with the shadow of your loneliness and not run from it, you've already broken the chain that enslaves most men. You've just walked through 10 truths about why staying single can be the best thing you do for yourself. Not because love is wrong, but because freedom is where real love begins. Remember this, you are not missing half, you are already whole. Relationships are not meant to patch our wounds, they are meant to meet us in our strength. When you stand steady on your own, you'll never cling out of fear again. You'll choose from freedom, and that choice makes all the difference. So guard your time, your energy, your clarity. Build yourself in the silence, sharpen yourself in solitude, and carry that strength wherever you go. Because the man who can stand alone without fear is the man who can stand anywhere, with anyone, and never lose himself. Now it's your turn. Which part of this message hit you the hardest tonight? Share it in the comments. I'd love to hear your voice. And if you found strength in this, pass it on. Someone out there is drowning in the fear of being alone. Your share might be the lifeline they need. Until next time, walk with clarity, live with strength, and never forget, you were whole all along.